Now, working for someone who pushes and challenges you to achieve more, well, that can do wonders for your self-esteem.
But working for a boss who is toxic not only drains your energy and confidence, but can be detrimental to your career and mental health, as Jason Bateman's character learned in the film Horrible Bosses.
See, this is what concerns me, Nick. You're a punctual guy. You know the importance of being here right at 6 a.m., which is what leads me to think that there must be something wrong with the internal clock on our security system.
May have been a minute late.
Well, no, but according to this, you were 2 minutes late. So either you're a liar or this system is off by a full minute. And if that's the case, then...
So, are you working in a toxic environment like that or worse? For more, we're joined in the studio by performance coach Andrew May. Andrew, good morning.
Good morning.
What defines a toxic workplace or a toxic boss?
Well, we look at some of those film clips you've played this morning, we laugh about that, but a true toxic boss is not funny. So there's no definition in DSM-4, but the closest one we can look at to this...
We're up to DSM-5, I think.
We are, is antisocial personality disorder. So there's a great book, David Gillespie, who's written a lot about sugar and about toxins. So the definition of ASPD is a condition in which a person consistently shows no regard for right or wrong, and they have an abhorrent lack of feelings about other people. And ASPD, they tend to manipulate others. But I think underscored on that is this lack of empathy or lack of emotion about other people's feelings. And it has a real ripple effect in the workplace. It can affect your self-esteem and it can really impact corporate culture.
And we can bring up some signs, telltale signs of toxic boss. Top of the list there, EC, passive-aggressive behaviour, poor communication skills, micromanaging, a lack of trust, and as you say, Andrew, a complete and utter lack of empathy.
I think a lot of people watching this, Michael, have had a toxic boss or a colleague or even a relationship at one stage. So that passive-aggressive behaviour, well done, Michael, that's such a good report, and it's just so condescending. And if you pull the person up about that, they'll say, but Michael, I gave you good feedback. But it's the tonality, it's the way they speak. It wasn't on the chart then, but two other ones. It can be having little pets. So I might be lovely to Virginia and you go, oh, well, isn't he nice? And then behind closed doors, I can be an absolute tyrant to you. And that can do your head in. If you're the person who's experiencing this, you're going, why is he nice to Virginia, yet treats me with lack of respect? And the storm clouds, it's the mood. One day you can have someone who's really gregarious, and often these people can get to quite high leadership positions as well. And then the next day the storm rolls in, you go, what have I done?
So what's the best way of dealing with this? I mean, we all have HR departments. Do you call in HR?
It's a real challenge on this because if you often go above this person, you can make life like hell for yourself and other people around you. So I think the first thing you've got to do is just take a step back and try and get some information around this and realise it's not about you. It's easier said than done.
Hang on, I just want to stop you there. It's not about you. I mean, it's easy for us to sit here this morning and say it's all the bosses, they're all dreadful, you know, they're doing stuff to us. At what point do you need to examine your own behaviour and what you're doing?
That's a really interesting one because often the person who's displaying this behaviour, that's another thing with that lack of empathy. They might even be watching this and going, oh, look at these people, and not even realise they are one themselves. I'd probably look at turnover stats in your organisation. That's a telltale sign where you've got an area where there's just like a revolving door. But when I say don't make it about you, it really is difficult because if anyone's watching this and they're either in that situation at the moment or they've been there, it's really difficult, Virginia, because it can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So when you're told you're not good at this, you're not good at sales, you're not good at customer service, you can spend so much time worrying about that, so much time talking about that to other people, that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's a really difficult one for people watching this, but the first thing is to try and find out more about it and understand the behaviour, understand the patterns.
Some other tips, and we can bring those up on the screen now, on surviving toxic bosses. And number one is being alert to their presence, avoid criticising them directly, which is very interesting. You might talk about more on that, and a whole list of other coping strategies there. And I suppose the final one, if nothing works, you just hand in your form and leave. Yeah,
that sounds a little bit sort of extreme, doesn't it? But if it is impacting your mental health, it could be impacting your relationships, your well-being. We're looking at Mental Health Month in October, and some research from Manchester University has shown, Michael, that in extreme cases with a corporate psychopath, it does lead to higher levels of stress, anxiety and depression. So I think if you're in a situation like that, you've got to ask, is it worth staying here to put up with this? But that second point you spoke about, it's a really interesting one because I think human nature, I imagine you're like this, if someone sort of has a go at you, you want to have a go back.
Yeah, maybe not the boss, but certainly, no, and let's broaden this conversation out to other colleagues. who, particularly in small teams, if they are in this category of being a psychopath, a sociopath, just a generally negative person, that can affect everybody.
It has a ripple effect. Like, attitudes are contagious. So if you have someone who comes in who's optimistic, positive, but gives you good feedback, it stretches you, but feedback to help you improve, that's quite inspiring. The opposite on that is you can turn up to work and it's dark and it doesn't feel great. But on the feedback, you've got to tread around it delicately and talk to other people. And really, when I say talk to other people, if someone's watching this and they feel like they are struggling, not just your partner, not just a friend, go get some professional support, either a psychologist or a coach who's had experience working with people around this. And that can really help people in that situation.
But what's curious about what we're discussing here, particularly with surviving the toxic boss, and maybe we can even bring up that graphic again, is, and we'll extend it out, as you say, to the colleagues as well, is that it's putting the onus all on the person. Avoid criticising them. Don't take their behaviour personally. What about accountability at the top? I mentioned HR before, or something, or someone else. Doesn't there have to be at some point accountability?
How long have we got? There does, and for leaders and CEOs watching this, I really implore them to look at this behaviour in their leadership team.
I think that comes down to them taking it seriously. So if someone brings it to them, and brings it to them more than once, more than twice, to actually, what's the old adage? When someone reveals themselves to you, believe them. They are actually telling you something truthful.
The flip side, and I always you always look at the counter argument as well, but the flip side is these people, especially in leadership positions, they often do a good job in other areas. So it's like the sporting star who might be the flawed personality, but they get wickets or they kick goals. Do you keep them in the team?
So impossible.
You're winning
to sort of
championships
call.
sometimes.
Challenge. Just quickly before we go, have you ever worked? No names, no pack drills. Have you ever worked in a toxic workplace?
Tightrope. In my past, I've had a little bit of experience on this. I'm sure most people watching this have, Michael. And I think one of the things as we mature, nice way of saying we get a bit older, a bit of experience, when you come across this, I think you're more aware of it. So in the past, I have, yes. Have you?
Yes.
Yeah, not at ABC.
I don't think I've ever had. I don't think I've ever had a toxic boss. I mean, that one that you've described before. I don't think so. Or maybe I have, and I just accepted that they were the norm, particularly in journalism.
Well, that's the problem. Yes. That list put together by that British psychologist said psychopaths are attracted to the media.
Yeah.
TV and radio.
So maybe you're just kind of used to it.
Did you see the top 10 or the top 7? So quickly before we go.
No, we're going to have to wrap it up because we are really short of time. But we'll whack all this on our Facebook page.
Journalists have had on there.
I'm quite sure they're on there.
That's why we're wrapping all of our bosses are wonderful. They're fantastic. They're incredible leaders. They're inspirational, and we shan't criticise them.
We're now covered. Nice to see you,
I'll
Adrian.
have what you're having as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate. See you soon.